So these are not. This is about percentages. It's about numbers. The FDA does not get everything right 100% of the time. But in my opinion, they came very close to. They approved a vaccine that has a history of how it works. The technology that the Moderna vaccine and the other and the Pfizer vaccine is based on mRNA technology, which is basically has been around since 2010. It's not a new technology; it just happened to be around when the virus, spread. So some people were saying, the government let the vaccine out in the market before a 4 or 5 year period, which it takes to approve drugs. Well, one thing, we don't have that much period of time to wait. Second of all, the second part is just as important, is that the technology has been around. So it's just a matter of time that drug companies were able to replicate a drug using the existing technology to allow faster development. So again, we can mistrust the government, we can mistrust many things, we can talk about, I'm not going to allow anybody to inject something into my body without, I can be without it. But at the same time, this is a community responsibility. And once again, we should really look beyond our personal beliefs and our personal goals, and think about everybody else, around us. And that's really, I hope people, look at it from that perspective, and hopes that we see an end, or at least a tremendous, a slow progress. I mean, I think this is going to be around for another 3-4 years, in my opinion, but it might be just around, just like anything else, infecting 1 or 2% of the population. But the current trends are very scary because people are continuing to resist, and continue to just have personal goals for themselves, and without really thinking that they should do just their part, and in hopes that we see a really, a slowdown to the point where it's just non-existent.
All right.
So that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna leave in 10 minutes, so I apologize. I thought it was gonna be a short thing, but I'll continue to stay on 10 minutes. But I just wanted to say that before I just skip out.
No problem.
Go ahead, guys.
No problem. So Shay, I don't know if you didn't answer this question correct. So what do you feel like? Do you feel like public service workers and people that work with other individuals, should they be required to take the vaccine?
Okay, before I answer that question, and maybe I'll answer it throughout what I feel like the people should understand what an actual vaccine is, firstly. And honestly, where COVID and all of that good stuff came from. So firstly, we give up people a lot of trust, and I mean, I'm a nursing student, and I hope my patients give me trust, so I don't want to degrade that at all. But we give people a lot of trust, and again, these people are human beings, right? We make mistakes. COVID, what it did to everybody, and I don't care what you say, how you say it, when you say it. What this did to us was it stemmed a level of fear that nobody was ready for. Okay, so we were scared. Okay. And it was big when it happened. Now, fear makes you do a lot of crazy stuff, okay? When you're in fear, you're scared about the power that you once had. So do I think it's a little bit of a power game? Absolutely. But more to it, let's talk about what a vaccine actually is, right? So vaccines come from the nature for viruses, right? Viruses have this special thing called antigens, okay? These are pathogens, and these little antigens, think about like a circle with little spikes on it. And those are the little spikes, right? So what they try to do is they try to find antibodies to fight off those little antigens, those little spikes, and hopefully it will, bring people into immunity. Okay, here's the thing though, and I like to say that pneumonia and COVID and the flu, كلهم بنات خال. They're all first cousins. Okay, they all love each other. They're all they party together, they study together, they do it all. So these are viruses that they change all the time. We know this. We know this about COVID. We knew it when we figured out what COVID was. And mind you, COVID was a man-made created bioweapon. virus, whatever you want to call it. It was created. It was created and it was stemmed off of animals. So this COVID, the SARS vaccine or the SARS virus, it stemmed off of a virus that was between animals that is spread between them, and they made it more potent for human beings. Okay, so let's just keep that into perspective. Now, when you come with a vaccine, there are very specific protocol that you have to do in order to complete a vaccine process. Usually this takes years. Scientists have been doing a very, 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 very strong job trying to limit that time, trying to make it a lot shorter. And they've been successful. I mean, look at COVID. But these are the 3 trials that it goes through. It goes through a safe trial. It goes through a trigger. So basically it goes from like a little trial of a couple of people, and then it goes bigger. And when it goes bigger, that's because it's trying to trigger a bigger immune response. And then it goes to an effective trial, which is thousands, okay? When there's an emergency, now listen to this. When there's an emergency and they want to speed up the vaccine process, you guys, they're allowed to combine all of those trials. Okay? They're allowed to say, okay, you know what? Instead of going from 100, we'll do 100 for this in this state, and then another one we're going to do the thousands, and then the other ones we're going to go to the communities and start passing. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed. So then you tell yourself, okay, so there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. Okay? That's number 1. And then now they're allowed to rush. So when you're scared and you move too fast, what does that result to? Error. It just happens. We're human beings. It just happens. Okay. There's another thing called the virus. VAERS. Okay. And what this does is it basically accumulates all of the adverse effects that give to every single vaccine. COVID-19 is the biggest vaccine push right now, so that's the numbers that they're going to give out. Okay? When you look at these numbers, they tell you. These are people that are literally writing in their effects. Whether you want to believe it or not, these are people that are doing their due diligence. I don't care if somebody's sitting there all night and they're writing, oh, okay, blood clot, blood clot, blood clot. If they got a blood clot, they got a blood clot. That's not something that I could change, you can change, the mayor can change, whoever. These are what people actually got. And we're forgetting that. Like, it's not fair if somebody got the vaccine and they're saying, hey, you guys, I felt like absolute crap. And not only did I felt like crap for 2 weeks, I still don't feel the same. My arm's killing me. And guess what? I got COVID again. I got COVID 3 months later. And I still have to wear the mask. When we elected Joe Biden, he literally said, get the vaccine and you don't have to wear a mask. That's why a lot of people were vaccinating. Not because they're like, I'm sick of this mask. So people were like, let's just get it done so we can call it a day. So now you're going to tell me that as a healthcare student, as a student that's trying to serve the better good, you're mandating, you're forcing me to take something that you taught me in school, that this is what happens in emergency, you're allowed to rush and errors are created. We learn about this stuff, guys. We learn about this stuff. And what's sad is yes, we are scientists, and all of these people, they're amazing people. I mean, look at America. Look what it did. Look at how great this country is. But at the same time, you got to remember that we're in a state of fear. We are. So do I believe healthcare, or anybody for that matter, should be forced into taking something? Absolutely not.
All right. Thank you so much, Shayma. And then Ziad, you didn't get a chance to answer this question. Same question to you. Do you feel like public service workers, and people that work with around people, nurses, doctors, should be required to take the vaccine?
I think it's a big mistake if you force people to mandate them, public officials or healthcare, when you have a shortage of officers, firefighters, healthcare workers. And where is this shortage usually at? It's not in the established nice neighborhoods. It's in the less fortunate neighborhoods. That's who's really going to suffer. So when you mandate these, believe me, it's the affluential people will be just fine. It's the lower half that's really going to be suffering. And that's the last thing that we need. We need, we can't go without, good officers and healthcare workers and firefighters. And I know when you're in an emergency, the last thing you're going to be asking is, excuse me, sir, can you show me your card to make sure that, you have your vaccine. Like the sister before me said, this was rushed, and even doing some research of my own, I've even seen that full approval takes even up to 10 years even.
Yeah.
And I know that maybe with time and internet and smaller world, maybe we can cut certain things and make it somewhat quicker. But I really doubt that within 1 year we can find a vaccine. And it just so happened that we happened to have been working on for 20 years that nobody knew about.
Right.
This is one of those things, and I'm sure it has. We have the doctor, in with us, and I don't want to take away from the everyday doctors that we see and the nurses that we see. This is the system that they're set up in. It's almost like they're hitting a script of what to say and all these things. To just to put it out there. And we've known pharmaceutical companies to be flat out wrong with a lot of things historically. Look at the Tuskegee experiments, where it was 40 years. It wasn't just a few months. It was 40 years of testing on minorities, on black male sharecroppers for their syphilis, and they tested it on them with promises of healthcare and whatever incentives, and people bought it. Like, hey, you know what? I have no other options. Let me just take it. And even within that time, they found out that antibodies was a way to treat syphilis. This was in 1947. However, it went on to 1972. These testings, and so that's another like 30 years after, almost 30 years after those experiments were going on. And we know 1972 is not that long ago. That's older brothers and sisters for some of us. So to say that it could never happen and we have to trust, no, you have to question. This is what this is what this country is. You have to question. You can't just take things as law, as if, oh, somebody important over me has said something. How many times have we seen the FDA approve something, and then when they stop their job at the FDA, they go on and take on a high role with a pharmaceutical company? It happens all the time. Not just pharmaceutical. I'm not just picking on them. That's tobacco. That's guns. That's whoever. Any lobbyists. And pharmaceuticals happen to be one of the biggest lobbyists for the government. This became highly politicized, and I'm not saying that one party is worse than others. I mean, you had Trump saying that this would all that he knew this whole time how severe it was, and he didn't want to scare anybody. So that right there, he showed that it was a lie. And then you had Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci said masks don't work, and then they say, oh, it does work. We just wanted to collect the masks for our healthcare people. And then also you have Biden, who said we could, we'll get away from all this if everybody takes the jab. Well, we have up to almost, I think we're close to, to 70% with at least one shot. And here we are, a year later, we're still the same rate as we were. Now I know there's a variant, however, it will always be a variant. That's what viruses are. Viruses, I mean, that's why we have the flu every year. That's why we have, so I mean, and the flu shot, I don't take it, and nobody takes it. I don't know anybody that says I take the flu shot all the time. Now, a lot of elders and some of the young people, our babies and our children, they'll take it. Their immune system is not as well as a full-grown adult, but there's a lot of mistrust with the medical industry, and this is the reason why, is because they'll say, hey, do this, and then they'll flat out and say, oops, sorry, we lied for your own good. So who's to say that later on they won't say, oh, sorry about that, we made a mistake, like how they waited until 1997 with this Tuskegee experiment, where Bill Clinton said, oh, sorry about that, we made a mistake. I don't want to be a part of that mistake that happens to our kids and our wives. By the way, in those experiments, it wasn't just the people who were tested on those studies that got problems medically. It was their spouses and their offsprings. So this is a generational problem that it was even created. So this is why I'm hesitant. I pull back whenever they say, hey, there's a mandate on this. I don't want to say that there's this vaccine is probably, it might be good, it might be, but I don't know. I'm still nervous, and that's my right to be nervous. That's my whole thing, and that's where I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you, Ziad. I appreciate it. And so, by the way, I appreciate everybody's answers. Everybody's answers is very educated, and I like it. Everybody's backing it up with some facts. And I'm going to skip over the college campus one. I feel like that question is not really too important. But what I was going to ask now is, do you think the U.S. will eventually require people to take the vaccine? And if the answer is yes, what would you do if they did? If you think the answer is yes. But yeah, you were about to say something else, Shana?
No, I just wanted to mention, being a college student, I think I'm the only one that's still in college right now. But being a college student, I have two options. It's either I get the vaccine, I figure out some type of exemption, which I don't qualify, like they're literally denying it, and then or I can't go to school. So those are my options right now. Is that fair? As somebody that's been investing $20,000 a semester, is that fair? And I'm 3 years in, so you're gonna strip me. I'm an upperclassman. You're gonna strip me of the right that I have. You see, like you guys see the correlation? How it's not adding up. Nothing's adding up. So jump to your question, because then I'm pretty sure this one's gonna tie it in.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have started a question yet. I don't think you have. So I guess I can start.
You said the travel. What was it?
Yeah. So basically, the question is: do you feel like the United States are leaning towards maybe requiring everybody? Like, do you think that time will come? And I guess hypothetically speaking, and then even if you think no, if they did, what would you do?
Oh, how about you answer? You haven't answered first.
I mean, me personally, I don't think the time will come. But at the same time, I think that, I already got vaccinated. So I'm already a part of the people that got vaccinated.
Clinical trial.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll let you know how it goes now.
Yeah, I don't think that time will come, but I think that that's where it's trending. That's what I personally feel like. But go ahead.
So, like, even when you register your children into school, there's ways to get out of it. So I don't think it's going to be, like, mandated where it's to the point where, like, we don't care everyone, because even with children you still have the choice to get them vaccinated or not. There's like a form that you could fill out, and religious reasons, or I'm not very familiar with it, but there's a lot of parents that are against vaccinating their kids and they still go to school. So
but isn't it sad that you have to label it as a religion in order to get out of it, or you got to label it as your health? Like, I have MS, right? But I don't use my MS as my little fiddle that I'm like, nah, like no, I use it as my strength, I use it as my armor. But isn't it sad now, somebody that took a hardship in her life, transformed it, now wears it as my armor, right? And now you're telling me the only way that you can get exempt from this is if you say, hey, it's from your religion, or hey, it's from your health conditions. That now you're going to make me start thinking less of myself, because I just got over the fact that I had a health condition, and I just got to the thought that I'm a normal person, or I'm just the average Joe, just like everybody else. But now I have to find an exemption, which is like, what if I don't want to be exempt? What if I just don't want to take it? What if I'm waiting? What if I'm waiting for all the guinea pigs to everybody does their magic? Because guinea pigs don't really have a. Anyway.
A backbone? Is that what you're gonna say? Is that what you're gonna say? Guinea pigs don't have a backbone?
No, guinea pigs don't have a long shelf life.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why they test on guinea pigs, right? So let the guinea pigs do the guinea pig work, and then if it's safe enough, when they find a rendition for people with preconditions and it's been in the game for longer than 5-6 years, maybe. But again, you're coming from a girl that has MS. Now, they don't even know what causes MS, right? They say it's, 50%. It could be from your genes, but nobody in my family ever had what I had. Ever. So I'm the only one. So then they say, it might be environmental. I mean, okay, so what was I doing? You have to, if it's environmental, then you have to include vaccines in your environment, guys. This is primary intervention. This is what we learn. This is how we prevent everything. So just like we screen and just like we do all of these educational stuff, we promote vaccines. That's our environment. So you're gonna, maybe, don't they say, isn't there a big rumor virus or vaccines and autism, and then you have your pro-docs and and somebody comes up and says, oh no, this is absolutely 100% wrong. But isn't it crazy that every single thing that we call, or not we, but people, or you know what, we the people call out anything in the government, whether it be from 5G towers, whether it be from COVID, whether it be from the vaccine, whether it become from masks, whether they're effective or not, right? And it's a microscopic organism, they don't work. Masks do not work, okay? They lessen the chance, but they're not 100% effective. Okay, but all of that, we are relying on a sole source of people telling us what to do. That's it. They tell us what to do, we abide by it. If you question it, you're considered the other. If you question it, you're considered crazy. If you question it, you're the anti-vacciners, or you're the ones that are conspiracy theorists, or you're this, or you're this, or you're this. And it's like, okay, if I'm that, then okay. But you can't tell me that everybody is going to it's going to have to be like a world notion. So I can't travel if I don't get vaccinated. So here's the thing. I know a couple of people that travel. And I'm not talking about domestic flights. I'm talking about international. It's part of their job. They got vaccinated. Their job actually gave them an ultimatum. You get vaccinated or you lose your job. They get vaccinated. They travel. You guys, nobody asks them for their vaccine card. Nobody. Oh, okay, like nothing. Okay, Israel, which is basically America's #1 ally, right? 92% of the country is fully vaccinated. 92%. That's huge. That means only 8%, and 8% is, all around. But you have 92% of this complete country that's vaccinated. You guys, they just went into a shutdown. They just went to a shutdown because why? The new variant. Because of COVID. So how about you, America, your ally? Your ally, your best friend, they just got hit bad. So you know how you guys are forcing us to do it? Laughing stock, maybe? If you go to other developed countries, America's losing their rep. America's losing their big boy pants. We're losing it. And why? It's because we're not we the people. We're not freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We don't have that anymore. We're getting stripped away from our basic entities and our basic freedoms, and that's not okay. Why did we come to America? Why did our families come to America? For that sole purpose, to have our freedom. And now you're telling me it's mandated?
Thank you so much, Shayman. I appreciate it. And I'm going to pass it to you now, Mr. Sarvello. The question basically is, do you believe that the United States will eventually require everyone to be vaccinated? And if the answer is yes, I mean, you already shared that you're a vaccinated individual,
Yeah.
so
Right.
I guess it wouldn't really matter of what you think what people will do. I'll ask the next couple guys that question. But I guess, do you feel like the U.S. will get to that route?
I do not.
Okay.
I certainly do not. And there's a couple of reasons, and one of them, I believe that if there was any kind of a mandate, you would find that the states would completely rebel against that, because it becomes a state kind of responsibility that they would want to assume. I don't think they would want the federal government to go ahead and to mandate that. They would want to make that decision one way or the other. That's what I believe. I don't know why you called on me after hearing that. But I mean, there was a lot of evidence. I understand.
I wrote no passion. I have to.
Somebody said, the system that we have isn't the best. The research that we have, isn't all that it should. It's not all cracked up what it should be. But the thing about it is that we have time. We had to start saving people's lives somewhere along the line. And so if we rushed through experiments, if we rushed through that, there was some, obviously there was some purpose behind that. Mm-hmm. And the purpose was that we had to start saving people's lives. You don't, nobody on this program right now has had Well, first of all, you're not 80 years old, okay?
You're 80?
But I'm 80.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes.
I can't believe it either.
But anyway, I lived through the polio epidemic. 1955, 54, 55, probably the 58. I remember as a kid going in mass to get our shots. They lined us up. The little kids, we went from the Catholic school right over to the public school. They lined us up and they gave us our shots. After that, then you took it through a sugar cube or through a fluid that you drank. But anyway, what you have to understand is that there were some real failures in this particular vaccine, the polio vaccine, the Salk polio vaccine. And I'm trying to remember exactly, but there was a time when they were putting this out, and it was in California, and they went and shot some kids up, and I think about 100 of them died. And the thing about it is that when you stop to think about, they were trying to get this out. And by the way, this vaccine was not produced by the federal government. This vaccine was produced in a laboratory by Dr. Salk, and it was under the auspices of the March of Dimes. And the March of Dimes were they were the contributing people and the contributing organization that provided the funds for this. And the federal government had very little to say about this whole process. They wanted a lot to say, but they didn't get that. And eventually they did. But you live through something like that as a kid, and it was scary. You're right. You're frightened to death. Parents were frightened to death.
Mm-hmm.
Some of
You
my
want a
friends-
solution, like
Yeah, oh, yeah, by all means. And so, there were some, there were some setbacks, but I guess you got to expect that when you're.
That's
You
the
know, he's trying to-
unfortunate part, is that with anything that's new, there are going to be some situations where, unfortunately people, die. And not to say
Yeah.
that's okay at all, but you kind of have to, with everything, it's trial and error.
60,000 people die every year from the flu. 60,000 people die every year from the flu. It happens. Pneumonia, the numbers are way larger. We're COVID, unfortunately, it's here to stay, but I'm hoping soon that it stops losing that fear and people can start realizing that it's just an upper respiratory infection. And listen, you guys, just like how we keep saying by human, by person, whatever the case may be, it's by person. I can sit here and tell you guys theory after theory, science, factual evidence after science, evidence on how this virus actually works, but it's literally by the person. So people die, but people die every day. People die from car accidents, people die from just walking to the work, everything. So unfortunately, this guy's here to stay, and he's going to be taking people's lives, just like pneumonia, just like his other cousin, just like, all these other people. They're gonna do it. So do I think it's fair that we're going to be in a constant level of fear from a virus? No. You know what you do? Up your vitamin C, y'all. Literally, up your vitamin C. There's so many ways. There are so many ways that we can fight this virus without the fear. Without the fear. We don't need to be running in line to go get a vaccine. That what blows my mind, and here's what just mind boggles me, right? I went to Papaya the other day, and I was going to get some avocado, right? And I was just going up there, and this place I go there because they have fresh fruit, right? Fresh fruit and veggies, right? I was going in, you have my card ready, obviously I'm gonna have to buy these stuff. As I'm walking in though, there's literally a booth that says enter me for a free car, free COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
So now when I'm going to, so why aren't my fruits free then? So if you guys are trying to save my life or save community immunity, right? If you're trying to save the community, why aren't my fruits and veggies free? Why is the COVID vaccine free? But why do you guys get money if you guys give me a vaccine? Is it because of greed now? Is it because of population control? Gets you thinking. You know, it gets you honestly thinking. I mean, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know the conversations that they're having in meetings like we're doing right now. We don't know. So then you have to use your critical thinking skills and you have to decide, you know what? Yes. But hey, you guys, the same people that are telling us about COVID, the same people that are reporting the numbers about COVID-19 are the same people that call us terrorists. Yep. It's the news, right? It's the same people. It's the same people that are reporting every day that a cop kills somebody else. These are the same people. So we look at them and we're like, oh, don't trust the media when they say don't look, Muslims are this or Muslims are this. But you're going to say,
yeah, but there's a lot of
vaccine?
media. There's a lot of media that's telling you the opposite. You know what I'm saying? That's giving
Where?
you all over.
what do you mean? For the vaccine or
That's
for
negative. That's negative as well.
What?
Like you could get a lot of information that's negative about the vaccine as well. It's not just what's positive. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy? Having to do the research, you know, just like not wanting to talk from, you know, like La La Land, and I had to actually go and like figure it out. You know, stuff that I was able to access, I've always been anti. And what's crazy is realizing what COVID was, like I was like, okay, people are saying it came from bats, people are saying it came from snakes, people are saying it came from a lead. So from the beginning of COVID, I was like, you know what, I can't trust nobody. I have to figure out the information, and I did. I sat down and I researched and I researched and I researched. So now, when all people that I know are constantly getting COVID, I was the only one that did not get it. Because I did the research. I figured out what actually works, what actually doesn't work, and you do your due diligence. It's 2 years into the virus. Alhamdulillah, I've never gotten it. Because I do my due diligence. 2 hours, I'm up in this. And I'm out. I volunteer every single day. So like, it's not like I'm sheltered or I'm not. No. It's being vigilant. It's being aware of what's actually going around. Okay. But then we tell ourselves that news comment. The same people that are trying to, like you said, that there's negative. I couldn't even access this, like VAERS, okay, VAERS. It's like I told you, it's the CDC. It comes off of the CDC and it reports all of the adverse effects of every single vaccine. When I logged into it, when I first heard about it in the beginning, like 2020, when I first heard about it, it was easy as heck to access. I'm talking about I went on it right through my phone. Today I was like, oh, let me go check the numbers so I can have some numbers, right? It was like almost impossible. I needed an identification code. So, like, okay, here's another thing. CDC. We love the CDC. Everybody has their comments, whatever. Okay, go to the CDC. This is why these people that you guys are holding on such high regard, let me show you guys a discrepancy. The CDC has something on their website for the zombie apocalypse, guys. If you type in cdc.com/zombies, they're going to have a whole protocol on what to do if zombies come. This is the CDC. These are the people that are telling us to take the... So, you see what I'm saying? So, okay, so the same guys that are telling you guys to take the vaccine are also saying that there's zombies coming. So, rather you believe... Like, it's just so circle, workle, la, everybody gets to say... It's fear. Zombies scare the crap out of everybody. So, we're all like, Then you have viruses, a little thing that is killing people. Scary. So, it's time to start killing our fear with knowledge. I think that's very, very important.
Thank you so much. Ziad, I'm going to ask you now the question basically of, do you believe that everyone will be required to take the vaccine? And if your answer is no, what would you do if you, I don't know where your stance is on if you have taken it or not. You don't even have to share it, but what would you do if you're somebody that's against taking a vaccine and they're pushing you to take the vaccine?
So, it's going to be pretty hard to police this. I know that private businesses have been doing this already, where they're requiring vaccines and even hospitals, and but it's going to be pretty hard because you have people who are fully invested before this pandemic hit, and then they're giving them the choice: well, take it or not, take it, or you forfeit everything, like your college credits or whatever. And honestly, you'll see a lot of they might initially be able to do it, but then it's going to be tied up in so many court cases. This is pretty much abortion 2.0. This is what this is, and yeah. So and even like the sister said, as far as believing in the FDA or the CDC or whatever, I don't know if we can 100% trust them. And yeah, they might have zombie apocalypse or whatever, but I think that role for that part of it is they're saying in case. But that being said,
Whatever it is.
I'm sorry?
I said whatever it is. Who cares? Even if it's a joke or not.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Okay, so I'm on your team. Hold on. But the thing is that it's not that they can be wrong. People can be wrong, and they come back and say, "Oops, we were wrong, but our intentions were pure." That's not even the case. Even people's intentions can be driven by corruption and greed. It's funny with the media. There's this famous quote: if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed, and if you watch the news, you're ill-informed. So it's one of those damned if you, damned if you don't kind of deals. Actually, myself, when I was an intern in the Canadian Parliament, you could look my name up, and you'll see there was this one time where I met Arnold Schwarzenegger because I was wearing an Anaheim Ducks jersey, a hockey jersey, in Canada, and Canada hockey's religion over there.
Yeah.
So I was wearing an American jersey over there, and I had it signed and whatever. And there was a reporter/photographer that was right behind me, and he asked me a few questions, and then I told him, I wore this jersey just, as a joke for my friend. And then so he kept saying to me, "So you did it for the attention?" I was like, "No, that's not why I did it." And he kept saying it. He said it 3 times. "So you did it for the attention?" To the point where I said, "Sure, whatever." That's exactly what I said. If you look up that news article, it said, "I hate Anaheim. I don't even like them. I'm from Detroit. I just did it for the attention." So the media will print whatever they want. Whatever they want. So it's going to be really hard to force vaccinations U.S. nationwide. I don't know, maybe they might do it in states, maybe there might be pockets or even private businesses. But a nationwide vaccination, I don't see it happening.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bishi, the same question to you. Do you see it happening, a nationwide vaccine mandate?
In a roundabout way, yes. Are they going to directly come out and say that this is a requirement, this is a government, this is law? No, they're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to use coercion to get everyone to comply. And that's the new way of getting the masses to go in the direction that they want them to go in. So if they want everyone to get vaccinated, they're going to say, hey, businesses, private businesses, guess what? You are exempt from any lawsuits that arise from any kind of COVID-related spread that happened at your workplace. You are exempt from any type of vaccine-related lawsuit that may arise because you don't know, we don't know, none of us knows. So we're going to protect you, and we're going to say that it's going to be impossible for the private citizen to bring forth a lawsuit against you because you forced them to take a vaccine. So what is a corporation going to do? They're going to say, hey, you know what, we want to be buddy-buddy with the CDC. We want to be buddy-buddy with the FDA and the government officials. We're going to do what's in our best interest as a corporation, which is align ourselves with the people who are going to help our business and help further our business. And we're going to do what they want us to do. And if they want us to tell our employees to get vaccinated, then we're going to tell them to get vaccinated. And in return, they're going to put a piece of legislation together that protects us from lawsuits. So what do you have to lose as a company at that point? You're going to lose a few employees. They're going to walk away. They're going to say, I'm not doing this, and you're not going to force me to do this. But as more and more businesses require it, you're going to find yourself running into a lot of doors, a lot of closed doors, and you're going to find it hard to find employment. You're going to find it hard to participate in any kind of community activities. And you're going to just find it overall hard to live your life. They're going to make it almost impossible for you to live your life to the point where you're just going to break down and say, I'm going to get the vaccine so I can get back with the masses, get back in line with everyone else. I want to be part of the group again. That's where it's going.
Thank you, Bashir. I appreciate that. Everybody has some great points, and now I'm going to move on to the last question. And basically, I know we didn't cover everything that we want to cover, but I feel like we kind of talked about the important stuff. And so, Ziad, I'm going to start with you, because I haven't started with you yet. Do you feel people should be required to share their vaccination status? Now, this has nothing to do with being for or against it. Just being required to share the status. People like to throw out HIPAA when it comes down to this kind of stuff. So do you feel people should be required to share their vaccination status, Ziad?
So I'm not sure if this is covered under HIPAA, and even to a certain extent. So I don't want people to think that I'm delusional, I'm anti whatever. But however, I am for security, and I feel like your business is your business, whatever you are, whether it's religion, sexual preference, disability, whatever it may be. Your business is your business. And there's even the famous quote from Benjamin Franklin, those who chose security over liberty deserve neither. I think that when you ask for your people's vaccination statuses, you create a pathway for, well, what else can we get out of them? I'm not for that. And I know this is a lame example. However, I had DTE come to my house before, okay, and they told me, well, we need to put this new meter onto your house. We're given orders. I was like, well, by who? It wasn't by me, and I own this house. Well, they said, well, we have to, otherwise, we can cut you off. I was like, well, I'm paying my bills. I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. This is not your property. You don't own this home. Because I said, well, you know what, this is their workers telling me this. So I go, you know what, I need you to show me any kind of paperwork that shows that you have that right. When I signed a deed for my house, it belonged to me. It didn't belong to you. You didn't co-sign, you didn't pay, the bills to this house with me. This is my home. I got the manager on, they go, you're right. If you want to, that's fine. Otherwise, they're gonna have to charge me a different way. I was like, well, then charge me a different way. I don't like somebody coming into my home telling me what I have to do. I like to make informed decisions. And so, going back to should you have to reveal your vaccination status? Look, if somebody wants to get the vaccine, great. That's your choice. It's my choice not to, as my choice not to let you know if I did or if I didn't. I think people see it as, oh, well, it's a vaccine, it's harmless. You have to look at outside of that. You have to look at the precedent that it sets. This is law 101 even, where it's valid here, they're going to make it valid here. Then it'll always be, later on in the future, 20 years from now, or even a year from now, whenever, they'll say, well, you guys, this was okay when we wanted to pass vaccination. What's to say that I can't do this because I want to pass X, whatever, X law or whatever. It should be difficult to push something like this through. And you shouldn't be allowed to do it. It should be your choice. It should be your liberty to do something like this. So no, I think you shouldn't have to divulge what you have or what you don't have or whatever. That's how I feel.
Thank you, Ziad. Bashir, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you now too. Bashir, do you feel like people should be required to share their vaccination status?
I don't, but what I feel has no relevance when it comes to the law and rights, employers' rights. So as Ziad said, he wasn't sure if it was covered under HIPAA. HIPAA is only applies to HIPAA covered entities, which is healthcare providers, health plans, and other healthcare fields. as an employer, if I want to know if my employee is vaccinated, I can say, I need to know whether or not you're vaccinated. I need you to prove to me. If you say you are, I need you to prove to me that you are vaccinated. And if they refuse, I can say, you won't have a job here if you don't get vaccinated. And guess what? As an employer, I have every right to do that. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it. I'm a private corporation, and how I run my company is my business as long as I'm not violating the law. I'm not a HIPAA-covered entity. So I can ask that question, and you will, as an employee, answer the question or just be dismissed from employment if I choose to do so.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's right. I would never do that to anybody that worked for me. I think it's wrong. I think it's horrible. And just talking to people at the office, I talk to people all the time, and some people share that they were vaccinated, some people don't. I tell some people that I'm not vaccinated, and I withhold that information from others. Everyone takes that information differently. Some people become very offended by it, that I'm not vaccinated, and then they want to start treating you different, and you're the pariah, and you're the guy out there. So I choose to share that. I selectively share that information.
Thank you, Bashir. I appreciate that. Sarvella, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to you. Do you feel people should be required to get vaccinated?
You're lucky I'm behind you this time.
Oh, no. Why am I?
I'm behind you this
Oh,
time.
good. I believe, yes, I do, because it relates to the safety of the total population. I think that knowing the vaccination status of somebody would certainly give you a choice on how you want to interact with that individual. And I go back to Shema, it's fear, and it's really concern. Here I am, right now. I'm sitting right next to Shema, and she's not vaccinated, and I am. Should I be concerned? I don't know. Should I be concerned? So I don't know. So that's the way I feel about it.
Dominique, but listen, if I was sitting next to you and I was vaccinated, I still could have COVID.
You could.
Yep.
Yeah, and
But the chances of you.
I still could get it though.
Yeah.
Just like Dr. Mohammed Sahuba said something earlier. He said, and I think it was Bash that said it. He said something about, or I think it was something about wearing the PPE still, right? And Dr. Mohammed Sahuba said, he said, well, there's still a 2%, 1% chance. Guys, we go to Cedar Point every year. There's a 10, 20, 30% chance of dying on that roller coaster. We drive cars every single day. There's a 10, 15% chance of us dying every single time we get in that car. There's chances everywhere. So now you're telling me that for 1 to 2% I have to wear a mask? Something that I'm breathing in more CO2 than oxygen? CO2 is toxic to the body, guys. We take that toxin out every time we exhale. But we're breathing. There's just so much back and forth. There's so much things that are fickle. They say one thing, but then I can find 10 things to back it up that don't correlate with it. So it's just the correlation for me is off. And now that there's this mandate vaccine that they're telling me, this vaccine is going to help save it. But I know people that didn't just get the 2 vaccine. They got the booster too. So they got 3 jabs when they only said in the beginning it was going to be 1. Now they got 3 jabs and they still caught COVID. They still caught it. And when I asked them, like, oh my God, how was it? She's like, oh, the same run, the body aches, this, that. I'm like, for real? The same thing? She's like, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's a little bit better. I'm like, don't you think it's a little bit better because you got COVID twice in a year? Like, you just got it so you know what to expect almost? And she's like, you got the Delta. You didn't get COVID. You had a different variant so it's just like, okay, do you, boo? But I didn't get COVID ever, and I never got a vaccine. So like, you got 3, I got none. You got COVID twice, I got COVID 0 times. But I have to get it. I'm forced. When you got COVID twice, so like with people that got it again, what's their repercussion? if they get COVID and they're still spreading it, and they're the people that are spreading the Delta variant, because now these are the people that are doing. I just told you guys Israel's numbers. 92 people, 92%. 8% of the population could not have spread the whole country and being affected again. It's physically impossible. So 8% was not responsible for this. So it's just crazy. The correlation is not there. But
Sorry, Bello, you were raising your hand. I'm sorry. He was about to say something. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I'm.
Okay.
No, I'm-
All right, and I was just gonna quickly say that I'm definitely for sharing the vaccination status, like you said, for the safety of people. I feel like people, the least they can do is at least let people know if you're for or against it, just so have people can maneuver the way that they want to maneuver. I'm gonna let Abid now say something. Go ahead, and do you feel like people should share their vaccination status?
In certain, like in a school system. I could only give you guys an example of a school system because I work at a school. And with the school that I work at, we follow CDC guidelines, okay? And there's different guidelines for people that are vaccinated and are not. So at that situation, yes, you should share. You know, you shouldn't tell the whole world. You shouldn't have to like sit there and like wave it, you know, in the air and be like, I'm vaccinated or I'm not vaccinated. But in certain situations where kids are involved, you're in a building together, there's a system. The system might not work, but you're going towards a way to make it work or to see if it could work. And at the end of the day, honestly, I think why not? If you don't want to take it, say you don't want to take it. Why are you afraid to share your status?
because you get eaten.
Well, you get eaten both ways.
You get eaten.
You get called what? What are some names that are people that are getting vaccinated called?
Guinea pigs. We got called like 3
So
times today.
you're bullied both ways. So if you're gonna do it,
Here's the facts, though. Here's the honest to God facts. It is a clinical trial. You right now.
no, I understand that.
The people.
But all I'm saying is that you should like. My opinion right now is saying you shouldn't like. It doesn't matter. You could say if you're not or you're not, or you did or you didn't.
Okay, but
so you know, especially at a workplace where you follow certain guidelines.
So you believe that businesses like
No, I'm not saying all businesses.
So you're saying stuff that deal with school students or kids.
Certain places that you know that you work with or whatever. So that's if you want to work there and you sign a contract and that's what they're following, then yeah. If you don't want to, go to a different place.
Wow.
Honestly.
So if you're telling me if I gave a company 20 years of my life and I've invested time and time and time and
You know,
time,
it's not fair, but
And
at
then
this
now-
time, if that's what they're doing at the certain time, you kind of have to make that choice yourself.
So then what happens? But here's
But they're not firing anyone. I'm not trying to tell you that my job is firing anyone that doesn't want to take the vaccine.
Right.
They're still
But they are
plenty.
firing people.
I know, but I'm
sometimes
saying-
they are firing.
No, I completely understand
That's
that.
why I'm saying, as far as like people bullying, saying sheep or guinea pig or whatever, words is words.
Right.
Right.
The fact
Ways.
that people are being able to be fired, or I have to do an extra step to do a job or to go to school, or like, well, let's look at the sports, for instance. I know that we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but even what the set of rules for a vaccinated person has to do and a non-vaccinated has to do are way different. And you're talking about you're losing millions of dollars for athletes. And I know nobody's going to boo-hoo over millionaires, but that's not the point. The point is the two different sets of rules, not name calling. Just it's not fair. You're not on an equal level. That's what that's the point of the whole why what's the big deal if I say I'm not or if I am.
All right.
Go ahead, I'm
Shayman,
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all fine. Thank you for that. And Shayman, now, same question goes to you. I know you kind of touched on it, and we kind of know where you're about to go with this.
I think what they're trying to do is they're just trying to isolate everybody. They're trying to make it one side versus the other side, straight up. So,
I mean, I'm not against any side. Like I said, it's everybody's choice.
people
at the end of
but
the day.
the majority of people are sided. The majority of human beings right now, because of the isolation, we've been in isolation for 2 years. I know people.
Can I ask a question, like, to everyone that won't get, like, so what is your reason not to get vaccinated? Is it because has it been clinically proven yet? Like, are you afraid that if you do get it, you'll get, like, extra, or you'll...
First of all, anything that somebody forces on me, that's a red flag.
That's with everything.
That's number one. That's firstly and foremostly.
For everything.
Number two, I know too much science. And I've been the guinea pig my entire life. I've been in and out the hospital since I was 12 years old. I've relied on medications that literally screwed my life over.
Right.
I have chronic illnesses that doctors don't even really know. My medication that I take, well, not anymore, alhamdulillah, but the medications that I was prescribed, I'm older than those medications. These are not old things that have been around long enough for us to look at people. The first vaccine that was 100% solid, which was a polysaccharide vaccine, right? That vaccine wasn't established until 1987, where the first round laboratory, everything regulated this, that, all 1987. My uncle's older than that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, and then you're telling me that now somebody that has MS that's already scared crapless about my other things that can happen. Now I have to think about the repercussions of what could happen to me 5, 10, 20 years from a vaccine that was optional.
That's definitely underlying health issues is.
But I mean, what about honestly, there are other ways that I could protect myself.
100%.
And
And you should have the.
So why can't I hold a card? Why can't I hold a card that says, "Hey, I'm not vaccinated, but I'm protecting myself every 2 hours"? Can I do that? So how about we stop showing cards? How about we show if we're protecting ourselves?
I haven't shown my card once, and I have a card. I have never shown my card once.
Nobody. TikTokers, that all they do is they travel, right? And all they do is they rent out these bougie hotel rooms, and they stay at this place, stay at this. She literally vaccinated. She's like, I'm not gonna lose my job because of this, and she's like, no, you know what? I'm going to these places. They're not asking me for my card, and I'm pissed because the only reason why I got this vaccine card was to travel. And she's like, no, you're gonna look at my card. And he's like, okay. So they instilled more fear.
Yeah.
It's just fear. And from a girl that loses her eyesight like it's candy, or a girl that loses her ability to walk and talk like it's rain, I'm fearless. So this stuff doesn't scare me. This stuff is like, been there, done that. Like, what's an upper respiratory infection? I've had plenty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's just a matter of fear. And do I believe this little fear card should be presented to everybody? I mean, if you want. But guess what? Every time I say I'm not vaccinated, which I'm very liberal about it, I'll talk to you about why I don't believe that I should take it. But when I do, I get, oh, Shay, you have MS. Why wouldn't you take it? I'm like, that's exactly right. I have neurological deficits. There's people that are getting neurological deficits from this vaccine. And then here's the best part. Nobody's going to be held responsible. So if I take the vaccine, they're going to be like, it was on your will. But they're mandating it. They're like, oh, nobody's held responsible for this. So if something goes wrong, so if you tell me, Shay, you know what? Not your better judgment. Your better judgment is telling you not to take the vaccine. Your government, which you're supposed to trust and love, and their big brother, so now they're telling you, no, take it. Take it. Take it. It's going to protect people. Take it. Take it. Okay, I take it. I'm messed up. Okay, I have neurological deficits where I cannot, I'm no longer Shay. No longer normal Shay. Okay, I go, I'm like, back to my doctor. I'm like, yo, what's going on? This is happening. Tough luck. Sorry. Is that fair?
No, not at all.
So why am I being attacked for waiting until like we have a couple of years into it being a thing? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like, and then when I sit here and I talk about the reasons why I don't want to take it, somebody's like, oh yeah, I can understand with your preconditioned whatever. It's like, wait. I was just saying that for me personally. What about the average Joe that doesn't have anything? You think they should be forced?
No, never.
Nobody.
I'm not saying anybody should be forced. All I'm saying
But,
is
I
that
mean,
in
that's what it is
certain
right now.
situations.
Right
No,
now-
I'm with you with that. I'm pro-choice. That's the thing that you're not getting. I'm pro-choice. But I'm saying in certain institutes, as in a school, you're in a school where you're working with kids, okay? They're not saying that you're fired. All I'm talking about is the school right now. That's all I'm talking about. They're not saying that you're fired if you don't get the vaccine. There's just certain precautions so that they should know if who's vaccinated and who's not.
So
they're
what's
not.
the difference?
They're not holding. Okay, so basically, if you, I don't know off the top of my head, but all I know is that I don't have to be quarantined if I'm near someone that, there's like certain things that I don't have to be quarantined. However, I do have to still get tested, and then, you know, in that place. But if you're not vaccinated, you do have to, it's all CDC guidelines.
Hold on. So if you get the COVID,
If you're gonna you're not.
No, I really
don't
don't.
want you to laugh at me.
No, I wanna know. No.
You can look them up yourself.
No,
All I'm saying is my opinion is that in a certain institute, you know, like working with little kids, if there's a protocol that you're following as a school, that you signed a contract that you're a part of, then yeah. But other situations when I can't speak upon anything else, especially with college students, I am with you with that because that's not fair at all, you know. But
Wait, I just have a quick question.
I don't think that it should matter, honestly.
The school system, because this is interesting to me because my mom works at a school. So you're telling me if you're vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine for 2 weeks?
if you're exposed next to someone that that had COVID.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Not if you have
Okay.
COVID.
Oh,
Not
okay.
if you have COVID. Only if you're next to
Next to
someone
somebody.
that has,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. But you still have to test. You said.
Test.
Okay,
I need to
okay.
make sure.
Okay, got it.
So, just saying.
Right.
I mean,
Alright.
there are some ridiculous things on the guidelines, but I'm just saying there's
Right.
different guidelines.
Well, listen up, all right, because this kind of went extended longer than I thought it would be. So at the end
This
of the day,
topic is never ending.
Yeah, it is never ending.
I
It's
It's
hate
2
it.
years long.
what-
It's 2 years long.
Like
Yeah.
I just feel like everybody has their own choice. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
but I do want to just give a shout out again to the sponsors, BC Adhesives. I appreciate those guys over there in Wisconsin. You got the Balkan House in Hamtramck and Ferndale location, by the way. And then we have the Give to Gain charity. Basically, it's a nonprofit organization that gives money to orphans in Yemen. Thank you to those people as well. Then we got Leo's Coney Island in Royal Oak. The best Coney Island around is Leo's Coney Island, and specifically the one in Royal Oak. Thank you to our sponsors. And then just a final word, guys, if we can just make this like maybe no more than 1 minute, so we can just wrap everything up, and then we can just get the show ended and on the road. So I am going to go ahead and start off with you, Sarvello. What's your final word, I guess? Final comments.
Thank you. I guess my final word would be that we need to be really and remain vigilant and informed. We need to be able to sift out the real important information that seems intelligent to us, and be able to go ahead and use that information to go ahead and make the decisions. There's respected scientists that that are all over the place, and they're trying to lead, I think, lead us. And there might be some that maybe aren't, but at any rate, we need to be able to listen to those people and be able to sift out the information.
Thank you so much. Ziad, final word?
First of all, I want to thank Omar and this fine panel for their time, and even all of your listeners and viewers. The main thing is that through all this, whether I was against or with you, I have total respect for everybody here, and that's the number one thing, is that whether you're for or you're against this bullying thing, we're all in this together, right? I mean, that's, at the very least, we can all agree with that. We all have the common goal of seeing this through and everybody being healthy and happy and with their families. I just also, shameless plug, Act Accordingly podcast. That's a podcast with me and Bash. We are generally never this serious. We're very, and so our listeners are probably listening now are like, who are these guys? But yeah, listen to us, and thank you very much for your time, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ziad. Bashir, I'm going to pass it on to you, man. And again, thank you to both of you for being here, by the way. But go ahead, Bashir, final word.
No problem. Thank you, and thank everyone for participating in today's discussion. It was good. I enjoyed it. Be careful. Just be careful. Z and I, at the end of our podcast, we do our own little PSA. Wash your hands. Wash your face.
Yeah, and we love you, and we miss you, and then we have this sign up where we go.
But
I'm sorry. Go
But
ahead.
the big thing is, if you do keep your hands clean, keep your hands away from your face. Just do the common sense items that are unfortunately not so common anymore. You can avoid a lot of sickness, not just COVID. I mean, this applies to a number of things. Just cold, flu, everything. Wash your hands. Don't use too much. What is that stuff? Don't use it.
Antibacterial lotion,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
That stuff's not good for you. Soap and water is the best
For emergencies, but
Yeah.
soap and water is always the best. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Besh. This is your time.
Exactly. Soap and water is the best way to go. That it's something that I do all the time. I don't get close to people. I try to encourage my kids not to get close to anyone's face. It's good to give people space, and under normal circumstances, just give people space. It helps prevent the passing of germs, and you'll be just fine. I made it this far. Let's see if I can make it another year.
Thank you, Bashir. I appreciate it. Shane, that same question, final word, I guess, not really a question, statement. What's your final word?
All right. I want to say criminals don't all look the same, right? So this is an act of, it's criminal. If you ask me, it's criminal. But there are, listen, always root for the underdogs. Okay, that's just life rule. And right now I feel like if you are however you're advocating, if you're pro or if you're not for it, just stick to what you believe in and hold on to what you believe in. Don't let people sway your opinion or your matter if this is something that you truly 100% strongly agree to. It's not fair, and I don't think it's appropriate, or I don't think it's nice that people are forcing things on people. I just don't think that's right. So honestly, what I want you guys to all take from this is be strong in who you are. Don't be afraid to bark if you have to. And just because they stripped us from their trust, take the trust that you lost from the government and instill it back in yourself. So trust yourself a little bit more. Trust that gut. And inshallah, like Bash said, hopefully we can make it another year.
There you go. And Big Sis, I'm going to end it off with you. Final word.
There's a lot that's going on that's really not fair for people, and I understand that. And honestly, I feel like everybody's just trying to, get better as a community, get better as a world. It's hard. There's going to be both sides. I feel like I have that gift of understanding both sides. That's why I'm kind of like, I understand, but, just be safe. Do your due diligence. Like how you sit there and I taught preschool for a while, so when you're teaching the kids how germs work and how soap helps the germ go away, and you have this whole demonstration, I just really wish that there was more open resources that are like that you can really trust. You know what I'm saying? That everybody could get their hands on. That you could really find the true answer, but it's not like that. There's a lot of clouded judgment here, there, and it's so hard to really sift through everything to try to figure it out. But you just got to do your job and make your choices. And at the end of the day, everybody gets their own consequences. So good luck and be safe.
There you go. Be safe is the common theme here. So thank you all for that. We're on the panel. Ziad, Bashir, Mr. Sarvello, Shema, and Abid, of course, co-hosting this show. I appreciate it, and definitely going to plan on getting all of you on the show again, fellas. And again, thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. Thank you, fellas, and everyone, ladies as well, and everyone can have a great rest of your night.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
My chicken says bye.